How's it going, everybody? How you feeling? How's your mind? How's your internal dialogue? How is your communications and connections with other people happening? How are your plans for your day moving about? If you're still feeling a little cloudy or a little hazy or even tired and perhaps needing some more nap time or some more downtime, don't worry. That is a completely normal thing to be experiencing at this time. Even though Mercury retrograde is now over, Mercury ended his retrograde on April 7th, stationing direct. We are still a little bit in a dewy haze, being that this Mercury is still in Pisces, and there is quite a lot of energy going on in Pisces right now. Mercury is currently conjunct the North Node in Pisces. We have Venus and Saturn in a conjunction in Pisces, and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is officially now in Aries. We're about 9, 10 days of experiencing Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, in Aries. And keep in mind, Neptune was in Pisces for the last 14 years. So even though we are in Aries season and the sun is in Aries, and Aries is a fire sign full of passion, initiation, and very action oriented, Aries is the sign of the warrior, very fiery. Generally, yes, during Aries season, is typically a time where we have more energy at our disposal to take forward action in the things we are inspired in our lives at this time. Aries is the energy of the pioneer, the entrepreneurial, the initiator. Even though we have this Aries energy going on, due to the amount of planets and points that are active in Pisces, it is sort of a drag. It is a little bit of a lag and a drag. And in astrology, Mercury represents the mind, your brain, the way you process information, the way you communicate that information to other people. Mercury is also indicative of your internal dialogue with yourself, your own thoughts. Mercury governs all forms of communication, including the communication of the synapses in your brain, the communication of your five senses having to send those signals through your nervous system, through your body, and into your brain to perceive it, to understand and make sense of what that is. I'm holding this crystal in my palm. The nerves in my palm have to register what am I coming in contact with? And it is my brain and that information that sends those signals in my brain that processes and makes sense of what it is I'm exactly holding. That's Mercury. And we have Mercury in Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, a mutable water sign. And mutable water is gas, clouds, fog, mist. And so Pisces is a sign that is known for being the dreamer, full of fantasies and imagination, and connecting to energies that aren't necessarily binded by the mundane material world. Pisces is existing in different planes, and we can see that in the symbol of Pisces, the two fishes moving in and out of different realms and dimensions that are reflective of our imagination and states of mental consciousness. So when Mercury is in Pisces, Mercury, the brain, the boundaries, the fabric, the boundaries that keep us confined in the mundane world begin to dissolve, and our mental capacities are having to uh, be more broadly exposed to energies and nuances that are existing in a different frequency, from a different dimension and a different vibration, that can make it challenging for us to actually be more focused in the here and now. So one funny way I like to explain Mercury and Pisces is that's when the collective mind is going through an LSD trip, an acid trip. Because when you're on LSD or mushrooms or some type of psychedelic, your brain is working in a way that it doesn't normally work in. More neurons are firing, more connections are happening, and you're able to perceive more light, you're able to perceive more color, you're able to experience more sounds. And not only that, but you feel a connection beyond that. You experience a connection with spirits and entities and the divine, which is very trippy. And so, though Mercury has ended his retrograde, he's moving very slowly forward. He's not full swing forward. So that doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. Now we have a whole shadow process of Mercury having to catch up to the point at where he's stationed retrograde in Aries. So this is a time right now where it is normal to perhaps feel a little cloudy, a little foggy, a little sleepy, wired and tired, because the sun in Aries may bring that awareness that I want to move forward. I need to get forward. I need a change. I need to make things happen, but your mind isn't fully behind those feelings, and you're finding yourself a little distracted, or perhaps even completely blank and disassociative. That's really normal right now. And to add to that, with Mercury being conjunct the North Node, and the North Node being an energy that represents fate, destiny, the future, the North Node is the energy that guides us forward into our own soul growth evolutionary process. And when I say soul growth evolutionary process, I'm talking about our soul, our growth as a soul that transcends our current ego identity. So this is beyond my capacity to understand the self as Mario. This is the entirety of my soul. And what is it that I and you on a soul level need to learn and grow and integrate? And so when the North Node is being heavily activated, as it is right now, the North Node has made contact with Neptune when Neptune was still in Pisces. This is the second contact that Mercury has made to the North Node. Venus has contacted the North Node twice already because Venus is also retrograde, and Saturn is within a forming conjunction to the North Node as well, which means that fate and destiny and karma are really activated right now. Karma and the past and past life experiences are associated with the South Node. So if there are conjunctions happening to the North Node, then at the same time, those planets conjuncting the North Node are opposing the South Node, which is triggering and activating the unleashing and the unfolding of past life or earlier karma that we've developed in this current lifetime. So with Mercury having to make these multiple contacts to the North Node, there is an aspect of our mind that is having to come to some type of higher philosophical, spiritual understanding that something is over. Something is over in our life. And mind you, Neptune was in Pisces since 2012 and is now entered Aries. Yes, if you've been following astrology, you've been following me long enough, then you know that this Neptune in Aries transit is a brief temporary one because Neptune will retrograde back into Pisces by September of this year. However, going into 2026, January of 2026, Neptune will re-enter Aries and we will be full swing in that vibration for the next, I think it's like 14, 15 years. So, with the North Node being activated right now and Mercury within a conjunction to the North Node, there are profound shifts happening on a soul level, spiritually, where we are ending massive karmic cycles that we have slowly doing the work to understand what the karma is, how to clear it, and to officially be done with it. We've also finished a series of eclipses over the past 4 weeks, and if you haven't seen anything in your life, some major story arc that has been going on in your life come to an end, come to a shift, then maybe you've noticed this going on in other people's lives. Just about some of them, all of the most important people in my life have major things going on that are indicative of a huge saga ending. For example, my soul brother, also the co-host of this channel, Unscripted Liberation Codes, he had his sister recently passed away from breast cancer, and that's causing a whole lot of shifts in his family dynamic as that has ended. There's this massive story arc that's ending, and even in my family, I haven't shared any of this, but I've been going through quite a serious legal issue with a relative who has stolen inheritance from my mother. And so we're finally coming to an end of this massive karmic entanglement that I've been involved with my family that goes back generations. It's not something that's just happening now. The thread goes back generations, and it's this energetic theme, and it's finally coming to an end. I know a few other people who are finally leaving their spouses after realizing literally over the last 14, 15 years that the spouse is never going to change. This isn't going to work out. I have to move on. So there are major karmic themes ending, and something that's important to understand, and why I believe Mercury had to do this retrograde is because it is these things that are occurring in our life that are having to come to an end, uh, aren't just things that are happening now in this lifetime. They are connected to a larger theme in your life, in your soul journey of really having to learn something and make the decision to end it and to treat yourself differently, and to say no more and move on, or to cut something out in your life. So this is a window. There is a window opening right now, and it is a lot to take in and to process. So with that Mercury in Pisces conjunct the North Node, there are parts of our mental capacities that are slightly disconnected. They're slightly disassociative because in the grand scheme of things, it is quite intense and profound in what's happening. And it's not going to be until much later down the road, going towards the end of April or even into May, where we're really going to come to an understanding and an integration of, wow, that chapter, that whole book is over. It's no more. And I'm realizing the journey that I've been on over the last several years, 12, 15 years. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Like, for example, my dear sister, my dear sister got pregnant before Neptune entered Pisces all the way back in 2012, and then gave birth to her first child as Neptune entered Pisces, and got into a marriage with somebody that was not growing and developing. And it's taken this entire Neptune and Pisces transit of my sister being, and forgive me if it's just a great example of um, of being disassociative of what's really happening, and allowing herself to kind of be dragged along in a dream spell, not really acknowledging that there is a problem here because we can just escape into another bong rip. We can escape into, rolling another joint and smoking some weed. We can go to the beach for the weekend and don't worry, everything is fine. And anytime I bring up an issue and it becomes explosive, we'll just forget about it because that was just too intense for me to handle and deal with. And I don't know how to actually move fully through this process with you. So, now that Neptune is in Aries and we got all these activations with the North Node, it's no random sudden event for someone like my sister to suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't do what's the next 10, 15 years going to look like? I can't do this. So, um, be patient with yourself as a lot of things are shifting for humanity at this time. And with Mercury so close to the North Node, it could be, strange, is what I'm saying. Now, with Venus still being retrograde, we're going to feel that we're going to feel that Venus retrograde. And Venus in astrology represents our relationships, our interpersonal relationships, your relationship to yourself, to your spouse, to your pets, to your money, and how you relate and handle and deal money, and how you relate to the people at your work, your best friends. It's relationships. And now Venus and Mercury were retrograde together over the last 3 weeks, and their retrograde began in Aries and moved back into Pisces. And this Venus retrograde is contributing in that whole dynamic of massive karmic entanglement coming to an end. Who who has been a part of the journey in our lives over the last several years? And what aspects of these relationships are no longer fitting, are no longer serving? How have I been contributing in toxic ways into these relationships? How have others been toxic towards me in these relationships? And is there anything still there for me to try to maintain with these relationships? And for folks like us who are, self-proclaimed spiritual people that are plugged into our spiritual communities, a lot of us may be taking a step back and really assessing this whole love and light spiritual disclosure community round of things and starting to see just how toxic the energies, the energetic transactions between all of us are. And this could be the beginning of certain spiritual and disclosure movements really, really splitting into different factions as we come to realize, you know, the type of people we don't want to work with and the type of people that we really align with, because there is a lot of um, toxic confusion, delusions of grandeur, lies, deception, and trickery happening in these things. And so, with this Venus retrograde, it is having us realign and reassess with our core values that we believe in and want to spiritually align with, and look at the network of our friendships that we have been establishing online, and take a minute to really reflect. Is this real? Is this even true for me anymore? Do I still want to be plugged into this, or should I pull my energy back? And if so, where am I supposed to go next? What am I supposed to do next? So with this Venus retrograde, it can add to the confusion and to the uncertainty as to who are you supposed to be working with at this time. And so allow yourself um, to have moments of just stepping back and reflecting and asking those questions. What am I even doing here? What am I trying to get out of this? Am I even being respected? Should I be here? and allow yourself to register. Like, what are you really doing here? Are you trying to be plugged in because you're afraid you're going to miss out on something? Are you trying to be the next big thing? Um, are you focused around being liked or by the people who have the biggest following? Um, who's leading the narratives in things? And what is it that is actually enticing you? Um, for example, there was an individual within our social network that was sharing a post of another person who was in our social network, and they were twisting the words of what this other person was saying in their post and trying to make an example of them, saying, this is toxic femininity. And you women need to heal yourselves and la da da da, and just like using that and twisting it as an example. And the individual doing this, right, has a PhD, has written books about their starseed experience and awakening to who they were and connecting to their star family and whatnot. And over the years have really created this aura, this presence, right? This window shopping presence of I'm the guy. I'm the guy. I'm also gay. I also have a PhD and I have a cool story to tell in my spiritual alien evolution. And so, my insight, my perception, my wisdom, my opinions should be considered as, as a big deal. So follow me. And this individual taking posts from other people and twisting it and gaslighting them, that's not, if you're needing to use people as an example and twist their original message to put them down, to knock them down, to character assassinate them in order to make you seem like you have more wisdom, more knowledge, and are more aligned. Sorry, you're the most weakest person. You're one of the most weakest people out here. So this is an example this is an example that I'm using to really ask you, like, what are you paying attention to? Who are you plugging yourself into? And how suggestible have you become to the things that you have originally thought were good for you? Because one of the things about Pisces energy is Pisces is highly suggestible. Pisces is unconditional love and total suggestibility, which means Pisces is not a sign of discernment. Pisces is not a sign of discernment. Pisces is a sign of experiencing what is within its environment. Just like a fish put in a tank, if you put a fish in a small tank, that fish will not grow so large that it won't fit in that tank anymore. But if you put that fish in a bigger tank, then that fish is aware of its space and is aware that it can grow a little bit larger. That's Pisces energy. It's very suggestible to its environment, whether if it's good or bad, and has a harder time in actually discerning things. So with this Venus retrograde, it's putting us through this process of having to discern what our energy transactions are really about, what's enticing us, and to see if this is bullshit or not. So, allow yourself, if you decide, what, this isn't for me, I'm cutting this off, and I don't care about this community, I don't care about this group, or I don't care about this individual anymore, and allow yourself to free yourself from that connection. And that's what I believe that this Venus retrograde is about. And this Venus is within a conjunction to Saturn basically all month long. Okay. It is only April 9th as I'm making this video. So we have nearly the entire month of Venus moving with Saturn through the final degrees of Pisces. Because when a planet suddenly stations direct after being retrograde and they start to move forward, it takes time. It takes days for that planet to start picking up speed in their forward momentum. So as Pisces, I mean, as Venus stations direct, Venus will be moving very slowly with Saturn. Saturn already by itself is a slow moving planet, and Saturn is currently at 25 degrees Pisces. There are only 4 degrees left in Pisces. We got 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, I guess technically there's five, but there's only a few degrees left. So this entire month, Venus will still be in Pisces, but within a conjunction to Saturn. And what is Saturn? Saturn is the disciplinary of the stars. Saturn is the teacher of the school of hard knocks. Saturn is an asshole. Saturn is is discipline, harsh rules, and oppression and suppression. So Saturn has been transiting through Pisces since March of 2023. Okay. Saturn entered Pisces March 2023. So it's been a good 2 years of Saturn in Pisces. And when Saturn first entered Pisces, my number one message about this transit that we're going through is people having to wake up and realize just how delusional they've led themselves to be over the last several years and come to terms with the fact of and come to terms with exactly how much of their own suffering is actually a reflection of their own belief systems and having to go through the process of dissecting the systems and structures that we've embedded within our minds subconsciously, and how our subconscious is controlling and manipulating the holographic projection of our day-to-day life, our day-to-day living. So if we have been experiencing sadness, depression, isolation, poverty mentality, and just experiencing a lot of things that are hard for us, or my favorite example with this Saturn Pisces transit is the whole twin flame thing. Like if like I've used this example many times. This person is my twin flame, and the signs in the universe have all confirmed to me in perfect synchronicity that this person is my twin flame, and I'm going to let them know. And then you let that person know, hey, God told me we're twin flames. I received 1,000, angel messages that we're twin flames. We need to make babies and, buy 2 acres of land and save the world, right? But then that other person is like, I'm no, I'm not your twin flame. I hardly even know you. You creep me the fuck out with your tarot cards and all these things, and I already have a partner. No, this isn't happening, right? But then let's say, you know, because there's a split, right? There's what we experience spiritually, in our minds, in our imagination, getting high off of our imagination. Oh my God, this person's my twin flame, and I'm just so in love with this fantasy. And then as I'm going through this train of thought about how we're supposed to make babies and save the world, I looked at the clock and it said 11:11, or it said 4:17, which is his birthday. That has to be a sign that this is real, right? Then there's that, right? There's what you are experiencing in your own private world, reflective of your own thought process, your imaginations, your delusions, and your fantasies. But then when you try to match that with the real world and say to the other person, you are my twin flame, and in the real world, the outside of you is like, nah, I'm not. Leave me alone. If you come at me again with this, I'm going to file a restraining order. And generally, right? You generally there should be an adjust. Oh, I am deeply embarrassed. I was led astray. I am a fool. But then let's say you have a hard time accepting that because in your own private world, you keep on receiving the messages, right? You keep on seeing his name everywhere. You keep on having dreams. And it's so clear. Spirit is telling you, don't give up, don't give up. And you've led yourself through years of suffering, longing for somebody that has no, that does that wants nothing to do with you. Okay. So let's say this is some kind of thing you've been experiencing for years. Well, this Saturn in Pisces transit is a transit to make you aware of how delusional you are and how all of your suffering is coming from you, and you are literally the creator of your own reality. You are the creator of these synchronicities, tricking yourself into something because there is the deeper issue you are avoiding inside of you spiritually, and you're continuing to escape into these fantasies. So this Saturn and Pisces transit has been trying to spiritually mature us into realizing what type of fantasies we might have, how we might be disassociating from greater aches and pains spiritually by escaping into some higher philosophical spiritual imagination that we're chasing outside of ourselves. Oh, alien contact. Oh, I am an ambassador of the Arcturian. Oh, the med beds are coming. Oh, Trump is going to save us. Oh, all of these different things, right? Of escaping outside of us, and not taking any accountability into our own lives because we are putting them onto something later down the road. Well, this Saturn and Pisces transit has been putting us through the works in realizing our part in everything, and to mature and take full responsibilities and acknowledge just how powerful we are. Now, I mentioned something about this in a video about a week or so ago, and this was about this was a tribute video to Neptune and Pisces. And it's very important that I mention this again. Within our brains, we have a bundle of nerves that's called the reticular activating system, and it's placed in the center of our brain, and it's a bundle of nerves, and it's called the RAS filter, or the reticular activating system, also known as the gateway to the subconscious. And the reticular activating system is a very profound, powerful aspect of our brain, because we have two mental hemispheres. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind, my conscious self, is only able to process like 50 bits of information per moment. Consciously, right now, my capacity of what I can be aware of is are the things that I want to say out of my mouth in this video, and me looking at myself, and just a few bits and pieces around my environment. However, my subconscious mind is aware of so much more, is processing so much more. My subconscious mind knows exactly what time it is right now, knows exactly what time it is in Australia, knows exactly what time it is in Egypt, knows what time it is, in Hawaii. My subconscious mind knows what day July 4th is going to be on the calendar 2 years from now. So the subconscious mind is so goddamn fucking powerful, and is aware of so much more, and is very, very advanced in its calculations on its own. And the subconscious mind is able to receive and process 80 billion bits of information per any given moment, whereas my conscious self can only process 50. So if our conscious mind was able to fully process the 80 billion that our subconscious can process, we would fry the fuck out. We would be so overwhelmed that the ego would have to die, and we would have to dissolve and transcend into a whole different experience. And it's a trip. It's a real trip. So we have what's called the RAS filter. Okay. So the best example, the most common example of the RAS filter is when you're thinking of buying a new car. I'm thinking I want to buy a new car. And you know what? I think I want to buy a Toyota Tundra. I like those trucks. They're good. They got a V8 engine. It's Toyota. It's got the name. Yeah, I like the Toyota. I like the Toyota Tundra, and maybe I want to buy a red one. Okay. And because you've set those parameters, your subconscious mind is now saying, is the RAS filter is now saying to the subconscious mind, plugging in the parameters, okay, we are now interested in Toyota Tundra and we are curious about the color red, beep, beep. And then the RAS filter sends the parameters into the subconscious mind. And then now the subconscious mind is going to ping your conscious awareness anytime there is a red Toyota Tundra around you. And what's interesting is that your subconscious mind can be aware that there's a red Toyota Tundra behind you without your eyes even seeing it. That's how fucking crazy the subconscious mind is. So when we're talking about things in terms of synchronicities, right? Synchronicities and divine timing, all right? This Saturn and Pisces transit has been trying to educate us and teach us with discernment how much of the supernatural experiences we are having are actually being done by another force or are actually our own selves, because we are that powerful. We are extremely powerful. A lot of the things that we experience in this community that we say are our guides, are our angels, or our light teams, or divine timing and synchronicities are really just all us and the power of our subconscious mind and our RAS filter letting us know when to consciously pay attention to the fucking time and to look at the microwave, you know. So this Saturn and Pisces transit has been a huge trip in trying to awaken us and reconnect to exactly how fucking powerful we are. And the scary thing is that now we have to take full accountability for all of the things going on in our life. Oh, this issue happened again, or this thing happened again, or I'm never going to get ahead, or I'm never going to find the guy, I'm never going to find the girl. All these different things, right? And when you create, when the problem happens, when the pattern keeps repeating, is it something that keeps repeating because some fucking external force is out to get you, the Illuminati is out to get you, or is it all you and your subconscious mind setting parameters and connecting to the quantum mechanics of things to have the universe fold and bend and reflect itself and project the holographic experience that you need to realize what it is about you that keeps on perpetuating you in this cycle of suffering and what you need to do to change it. It's all you, it's all us. So this Saturn and Pisces transit is a trip. And with Venus being with this Saturn all month long, two major things that are under evaluation in our life right now. And those two things are going to be, who are you in relations with? Who are your friends? Who are your partners? And also who are your enemies? And your money, your resources. What are you doing with your money? What are you doing with your resources? And taking all of that very, very serious and understanding who is worthy of your time, your effort, your money, and who isn't, and cutting that out and making changes. Because with the North Node in proximity to this Venus Saturn transit, destiny is involved. The future is involved, which means that there is a whole tsunami of new energies that need to come into our lives. But they can't come into our lives until we've figured it out ourselves and kicked the old energy out of our lives and say, no more, enough is enough. I can't be in this relationship anymore. I can't have the spending habit anymore. I can't be escaping out of the responsibilities of my life through, smoking bong rips and not paying attention. So this is a bit of a serious month. This is a bit of a serious month where, because of the Pisces energy, it's I think a huge part of of um of society, of humanity is going to be checked out. And I think that's fine. I think it's okay right now to be a little checked out. Um, and what do I mean by that? Just kind of foggy, not fully present, maybe even completely just absent of mind. And I think that's necessary because we need to hear ourselves. We need to find some sense of clarity within ourselves. And if we're you know high off the Aries energy, pushing ourselves and trying to make too many things happen right now, then we might miss the window and not realize what sort of things we need to let go of and head down the new direction. Now the full moon that is occurring, this is a interesting full moon. Um, the full moon is going to be at 23 degrees Libra and Aries. The moon will be in Aries. I mean, the moon will be in Libra and the sun will be in Aries. And the sun will be exactly conjunct Chiron in Aries as well. As a matter of fact, the sun will first come into contact with Chiron at 22 degrees Aries, and the two of them will move from 22 degrees Aries to 23 degrees Aries by the time we're at the apex of the full moon in Libra. So, again, Libra ruled by Venus. Venus is in Pisces with Saturn, relationships, money, your connections with people. Like, I mean, in my own life, I'm in the middle of a legal dispute with my uncle who stole my mom's inheritance. Okay. And this is a big issue because my mom was an adopted child and she was adopted into a household where the mother was an alcoholic and abused the fuck out of her. My grandmother who passed away long before I was born due to her alcoholism abused the fuck out of my mom. And that's the reason why my mom is this huge sad story because she ran away from home age 15, started having babies, gave some up for adoption, got addicted to drugs, started rolling with gangs. And my mother is a Pisces, okay? And Pisces is the sign of disassociating, disconnecting, hiding, being in this dream realm. And, my mom used to tell me all the time, like, oh, when the movie Grease came out, I watched it like 10 times when I was a little girl. And every time she tells me that, I'm like, yeah, no wonder why your life was the life you had, because you were so suggestible to that movie that you created it in your own world. Oh, I'm the pretty white girl in LA, and I'm gonna fall in love with the edgy underdog. And for her, that was like the Latino gang, life, and just kind of live this, beauty school dropout fucking fantasy. So she's been in fantasy land her entire life, and she's gone through a lot of hard things. And years later, 30, 40 years later, right? The legacy of this family is changing. The patriarch of this family, my grandfather, has passed away. He left this plane a year ago, and him leaving left all of his assets that were supposed to be equally divided between brother and sister. Well, brother commingled all the funds, put them all in his bank account, was not transparent about things because he doesn't respect my mom or myself. And, what should be a whole lot more money left for my mom is actually nothing. So this is not right. And this is part of the karma, right? This isn't just fucked up now, but it's part of the whole thing that my mom endured as an innocent baby being brought into this family and experiencing nothing but abuse and misunderstanding, and then now being robbed of her inheritance. And so, you know, this legal battle that I am in defending and protecting my mother This is all deeply karma. This is deeply karmic. And this is changing the relationship that I have with my uncle. This is changing the relationship that I have with that entire side of the family. And the big thing about all of it is money. It these values. So with this Venus in Pisces, with this Saturn in Pisces, and all this Pisces energy, and the full moon in Libra, these are big things we're having to look at in our lives is money and our relationships and how things need to change, just like how my sister who's leaving her husband, right? He's somebody who can't keep a job. He's somebody who's only made like $2,000 in the last 2 months and he's not contributing. And my sister's like, this ain't no, like I can't do this anymore. This relationship isn't working, and you're not putting in equal measure, equal value in what I'm doing. I can't do this anymore. So this can fall in a lot of different ways. I'm just using these examples because they're the ones that are easy for me to pull and share with you all right now. But going back to this full moon in Libra, the sun is in Aries. The moon is in Libra. So this is about individuality and how we relate our raw, authentic individuality with other people. And we have gone through a few years of having Aries eclipses now. I think the first Aries eclipse was in April of 2023, and then we had the big one last year, 2024, the one across America, and then we had another Aries solar eclipse just a few weeks ago. And all of these eclipses were where Chiron was in Aries as well. And what's Chiron? Chiron is the wounded healer. Okay. Chiron is the rainbow bridge. Chiron is a fucking asteroid that exists in the asteroid belt past Saturn's orbit. Because in astrology, Saturn is the ruler of the mundane 3D physical world. We have the personal planets, the moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and then we have Saturn. And those are all the planets that are close enough where we can visibly see with the naked eye. And Saturn rules that domain. Saturn rules the physical reality and the laws that bind us in the experience of the physical reality, time, space, gravity. These are all things under Saturn's domain. And then when we get to the celestial planets, the transcendental planets, we have Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then there are new ones now, Eris and Sedna. So the distance from Saturn to the next planet, Uranus, is huge, okay? And Chiron acts as the rainbow bridge to take us out of Saturn's domain, the harshness of the reality and the weight of the gravity that we have to endure in this plane. Chiron is that archetype that takes us over the rainbow bridge and to transcend into higher celestial energies. And the reason why that archetype is embodied as the wounded healer is because in order to access that rainbow bridge, we have to we have to come to terms with our traumas that we endured and experienced through the harshness of the 3D physical plane. Just like when you come into ceremony to ingest in sacred plant medicines like ayahuasca. Okay. Generally, when you're taking some kind of ceremonial medicine like that, whether it's ayahuasca, mushrooms, or peyote of some sort, the first layers that you are going through is the pain of your own ego, is processing that relationship, processing that childhood wound, processing the issues you have with your own self, your own addictions, and having to go deep into that pain and dissect it and understand where it's coming from. And then it's the mechanism, it's the tools of loving and forgiving yourself and letting that go that allows you to release that weight and dissolve that ego mind carrying onto that pain body and enter your light body and leave the physical plane and go into higher realms and higher dimensions and access greater knowledge and greater wisdom. So the reason why Chiron is the wounded healer and it's a rainbow bridge is because to really access those higher celestial bodies and the wisdom and the knowledge that they have to give us, we have to um, go through a profound, intense healing that we experience here. And Chiron has been in Aries since 2018. And now, during this full moon, the sun will be conjunct Chiron at 23 degrees. So this sun Chiron conjunction is going to make us aware of of how far we have come to do the work in loving ourselves and freeing ourselves to speak our truth and to hold our ground in that. So this is an intense full moon where you may be called to speak your truth to others in some kind of situation, some kind of agreement, some type of dispute where you'll be challenged to hold your ground and having to face conflict. So I believe that a big part of this Chiron and Aries transit is to heal the masculine energies within everybody, within men and women, and to bring new life to what masculine energy is for ourselves in humanity. And Aries is the sign of the warrior. Aries is, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face if you talk like that again to my sister. Fuck you. No one ever does that, you know? And we live in a day and age where so much of our primal instincts are suppressed. Okay. You know, our primal body, our brain, the hormones, our fight and flight nervous system are still exactly the same as it was when we were living through much more primitive times, where we needed to have those fight flight response to kill something if it was threatening us, or to be able to run away. And these responses, these primitive components within our brain, within our mind, within our physiology have not changed because our environment has changed. And so because, I'm able to go to work, and let's say I go to work and my supervisor is giving me a hard time, and he's triggering my fight flight responses, right? Well, when those fight flight responses are triggered, the animal inside me wants to say fuck you and punch him straight up in the face, right? And so we're having to evolve and figure out how do we take our anxiety, how do we register the things that are threatening us, or disrespecting like our sense of self and our character, and not let the animal inside of us be the dominating force, and to evolve spiritually and consciously on how to deal with conflict in this modern day and age. And so that's how I've been seeing this Chiron and Aries transit. And during this full moon, it's going to be a period where you have to hold your ground and proudly be who you are, no matter no matter the reaction and the responses of those who are really trying to bring you down. Like for example, gosh, I hate using it as an example, but like for example, my sister who's like in the process of leaving her husband, my brother-in-law just can't hear her. She can't listen to my sister, can't hear my sister, and he gets really intense with his own emotions and doesn't know how to handle them, that he does the toxic man thing of just like yelling, being over authoritative and super dismissive and narcissistic. And because of the traumas that my sister has been through a lot. She's got sexual abuse trauma, all sorts of things that have affected her nervous system and her ability to be strong in herself and defend herself. So in this relationship, when she feels threatened, when her husband, inflates into this response, then she hides and shells away. But with the energies going on right now, this is the time where we heal those wounds and come back into ourselves, and not be afraid to face these types of issues. And I'm like really on a rant, and I'm going like my wife is looking at me like, why are you talking about this stuff in this video? You were supposed to only make a 1 minute video. But we're here, and I'm sharing it, and I'm talking about it, and I feel like I'm on a flow, like I'm in a roll here. So bear with me. So this is the full moon. But wait, there's more. Okay, there's more. We also have the planet Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is in Taurus at 25 degrees. Okay. And what other planet is at 25 degrees? Saturn. So, and Venus is at 24 degrees retrograde, and soon Venus will station direct. So, as I mentioned, Venus and Saturn will be moving through Pisces together nearly the entire month. This Uranus in Taurus will be sextiling this Saturn Pisces energy as well throughout this entire month. And what is Uranus? Uranus is the planet of random and sudden, unforeseeable events or shock and spontaneity, spontaneous eruption and shock. And Venus Taurus, Taurus is a sign that represents the body, our physical senses, but also resources of value, assets, food, money. And when it comes down to other like non-physical things, Taurus represents our self-esteem, our sense of self-worth. How much do we value ourselves? Do you see the value within yourself? And are you giving yourself that respect to embody it? And Uranus has also been in Taurus since 2018. And so for Uranus and Taurus to be making these sextiles to this Venus and Saturn transit, it is bringing in those high anxiety voltage energies for you to erupt, to have an eruption, to have the lightning bolt strike the tower because the tower is built on an unstable foundation. So there could be situations this month where if you are moving through life in relations with others, whether they're your spouse or in business or in some other way in having a relationship with the world or the economy, this Venus. I mean, this Uranus connection to the Saturn and Venus transit in Pisces could bring those elements of surprise where money is the issue, where money is the focal point to really unravel everything else, right? It's like, God damn it, the car broke down again, or God damn it, the fucking air conditioner fell apart again, and now you're having to realize and be reminded of how much money you don't have and how much more money you could have if your partner or the other people on your team were putting as much effort as you were, and you guys, were working together, but now it's all on you. And so it's like, this isn't working out. Something needs to change. The AC broke. We don't have money for it. What are you doing? You don't even have a job. Like, get on board. So that's the kind of like situations or stirring up this Uranus transit could bring, and the intention of bringing whatever type of disruption that this Uranus energy brings, the purpose of it is for you to practice the embodiment and the integration of owning your own self-worth. God damn it, I am worthy of more. God damn, I do not, I am, this isn't what I want. I deserve better. I deserve a better life. And you know what? This situation could have been avoidable. You know what? This crisis doesn't have to be as intense if I was a little bit more responsible with my life. I have been sleeping on myself. I have been sleeping in my relations with these other people. What needs to change? And so things need to change. And, Taurus is the most stubborn sign in the entire zodiac. There are four fixed signs, and the four fixed signs are the stubborn, determined, tenacious energies of the zodiac. But I'm going to say Taurus is the most stubborn and fixed of them all because it is the bull. It is Earth. It's fixed Earth. Okay. So, and that's like a mountain, right? How are you going to move a mountain? How are you going to tell the mountain, hey, mountain, you're in the way. You block the sun at this hour. I would prefer if you were over here. Impossible. Not going to happen. So, this Uranus and Taurus transit has been a little hard because it's changing things in our lives and in the world that probably would not change if Uranus wasn't there. And the thing about Taurus is that it's tenacious. It's so tenacious that it'll white knuckle grip, hold on to things, even if it's dying, even if there's nothing there anymore, they just won't give up. They won't let it go. And so this Uranus and Taurus transit has been doing us a big favor and causing a lot of disruptions in the areas or in things in our lives that need changing that otherwise won't change. And the focal point is going to be around our self-esteem, our values, and our money, and also our actual physiological body. So that's a whole thing going on as well. And what else? What else is going on? I mean, a lot's going on with the transits, you know. Let's see, where let me see the transit wheels. I think there was another thing. Mars. Yeah, Mars and Cancer. Okay. This Mars transit was this Mars transit, fucking A, dude. And I called it. I called it last year before my honeymoon. I called it last year in fucking September. You can watch the video. I was like, look, this Mars is going to be squaring the North and South node in Libra and Aries. This was last year before the nodes shifted. This Mars in Cancer is going to directly square the north and south node, and then this Mars in Cancer will directly oppose Pluto in Capricorn, 29 degree, and then we'll get into Leo, and then this Mars will retrograde, oppose Pluto again, but this time in Aquarius, and move back into another square with the nodes. No, actually, not there wasn't a second square with the nodes, but having to, re-enter Cancer and slowly retrograde in Cancer for months. Okay, for months. Okay, this Mars retrograde transit re-entered Cancer in I think it was January, and remained retrograde in Cancer until the end of February. And we're now in April, and Mars is still in fucking Cancer. Okay. We're months of this Mars in Cancer. All right. And Mars is the ruling planet of what sign? Aries, the fighter, the warrior, the passion, the spark, numero uno, number one. And Cancer is the sign of home, family, the mother. And I called this a year ago that there will probably be a lot of stories unfolding either in your life or in the lives of people around you that you will witness where major family issues arise, where the focal point or the trigger or the catalyst will be the mother or something down the matriarchal line. And I had a lot of fucking things come up with me and my mother. I have friends of mine, things is going on with them and their mothers on social media. I think I've had three or four friends whose mother have passed away during this time. And the thing about Cancer is it's from the fourth house, and in the fourth house is where we have home, family, nurturing the mother connection, but also memories. The vibration of nostalgia comes from the fourth house. When you walk into the kitchen and smell some cookies, and it brings the nostalgia of like, oh, I remember when I was a little kid and grandma would make these cookies, and it triggers all those memories. Then there's the scent in the kitchen and the nostalgia it goes even deeper with Cancer in the fourth house. And it goes as deep as ancestral memory that is passed from the womb of the mother down from one child into the next. And this Mars and Cancer transit began with this direct square to the north and south node, with the south node in Libra and the north node in Aries, which stirred up the opening of a lot of karma to be processed that we're still dealing with right now. The karma that got opened up last year in September and October, we're still with it right now. Okay. This issue that I've been dealing with my uncle started last year in the end of October going into November, and we're still dealing with it right now. Okay. So, so with this Mars and Cancer transit that has been going on for months, this has been helping us as shitty as the journey may be, as intense as the journey may be, this has been helping us purge and clear things out karmically. And yes, the mother is a lot has a lot to do with it. We've been clearing a lot of ancestral fucking bullshit. And I say that with respect. But now Mars is at 27-degree Cancer. And what was the first two things we talked about in this video? Mercury in Pisces, 27 degrees, and the North Node in Pisces, 27 degrees. And Mars is a fellow water sign making a trine to this North Node energy and this Mercury energy. And so you want to be careful because Mars is tired. Mars is tired of being in fucking Cancer because he has to feel his emotions. And Mars and Cancer energy is boiling water, is raging waters. It's like trying to go rafting down white water, and that white water is not friendly. That white water is unforgiving. Okay. And if you're gonna go into that white water, you're gonna fucking bang your head on a rock. And that's this Mars and Cancer energy. It is just done. It is tired. And it's likely that the family situation is going to be what is creating all of this agitation and frustration. It could either be family directly in your home or the family, back home with mom and pa, and you're an adult and you're doing your own thing, but still back home, there's things going on, and so it's just like, yeah, I'm fucking tired of this. And with the aspect to Mars, you want to be careful because, I mean, with this aspect to Mercury, is you want to be careful because this Mars can um, have you say things that you could regret later on. Say things in a mean and hurtful way that can change the fate in the direction things are going to in a way that you didn't intend to. So this could be like, really saying something mean that was uncalled for that that changes everything, that changes fate entirely, right? So this could be like saying something like, well, you know what? Like, I fucking hate you and I've always hated you and you're a piece of shit and I never even once loved you. Like saying some shit like that. And it's like, whoa, didn't know you felt that way. Thank you. Okay, I guess I'll just leave. But maybe you didn't even mean any of that at all. But in the heat of the moment, that's what you said, and there's no taking it back, right? There's no it changed reality, and there's no going back to it. So you want to be careful right now in tempering your own emotions and allowing yourself to take a moment to really come into your heart and practice speaking from a place of sincerity and sensitivity. Because if you don't and you let the heat of the moment and your emotions take over, it could be regrettable, and there could be a lot of karmic repercussions that occur after that. So be very mindful of this as well. So it's testy. It's very testy. And the fact that majority of this energy is in Pisces. Pisces is deeply sensitive, very, very sensitive energy, overwhelmingly sensitive. So I think we are being in a position to practice on really dropping into ourselves and not being swept into the currents of our emotions and the drama. in and come to a place within ourselves where we can become sincere about what we feel because we've been going through this process and it's like, no, I know how I feel. And with the Pisces energy, I know how you feel because I'm sensitive and I'm receptive to it. And I know what I want the outcome to be. I don't want the outcome to be ghetto, petty, and completely catastrophic because there is a good way that all of this can end on. And how can I do that? And so I need to be in control of my own self and make sure I'm coming into my heart and choosing my words wisely. And I think that this is a huge learning curve that humanity is on right now. And it's intense because what we're mostly seeing is people not practicing that. People are in their heads, they're in their pain body, they're in their own anger, and they're lashing out. People are out of control right now, just letting the heat out on everyone and anyone. And I really do think that right now we're supposed to be evolving. We're supposed to be evolving spiritually and mentally on how do we practice as a human race being more sincere and respectful for all life and taking that into consideration while also maintaining um, the clarity of your own value, your own sense of self-worth. No, I will not compromise on that because I've done the work and I'm owning that and I'm communicating to you in a sincere manner that this can no longer work out in the way that it has been and something needs to change. And I don't want things to change and end in a catastrophic, ball of fire. And so I'm trying to work with you heart to heart, sincerely as adults, while also not being threatened and you not being threatened by me owning my own sense of self-worth and individuality and confronting you. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's really it in a nutshell. All right, with that being said, this video has gone on long enough. My name is Mario Mijares, intuitive psychic astrologer, certified hypnotherapist. Book a reading with me on my website, starseedsalsa.com. I do have a sale going on. If you use coupon code Shazam at checkout, you will save $50 on a 90-minute reading. This sale is going on until I think after the first week of May. So take advantage of that while it lasts. And if you have any questions or comments, just drop them below. Please like, subscribe, share this video, please. Um, Sincerely asking you. My channel is severely suppressed and blocked. So yeah, show some love. All right, everybody. Peace.